One of the objectives of development communication is transformation of society premised on the fact that an information-rich society can make informed decisions and therefore foster development. The media has been awash with the stories of insecurity, an attack on media freedoms, dissent on the rule of law, the presidential campaign on household incomes, and the land question that has pitted the poor against the rich. Land, among all, has a more direct effect on every citizen for its many uses, but recently for its economic understanding as a factor of production. Let's look at the land probe that has arraigned heavyweights in the recent weeks and placed them into the dock over fraud and inhuman acts of evictions and land grabbing. Let's look at the Justice Catherine Bamugemerere Commission and its ability to solve a question that has lived longer than our own independent nation, Uganda.
Generally, dealing with the historical, it has happened and people have titles, of which titles are genuine, you cannot deal with it. It is us going outside the box. It has to begin thinking out of the box to find a way of engaging people that already have the land titles, the rightful owners.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, in the immediate aftermath of his re-election in December 2016, appointed a Judicial Commission of Inquiry on Land in Uganda that has come to be popularized as the Bamugemerere Commission. The commission would be led by Lady Justice Catherine Bamugemerere, with commissioners former Attorney General and MP Fred Ruhindi, Makerere University Don Dr. Rose Nakai, Senior Presidential Advisor on Buganda Affairs Robert Sebunyi, among others. The commissioned mandate was limited in scope to investigate the effectiveness of land laws, process of land acquisition and land administration, effectiveness of bodies charged with preservation of protected areas such as game parks, wetlands, and forests. The probe came at the wake of a growing wave of land evictions, fraud, and murders related to land conflicts that threatened both the economy and security of the country. It began public hearings in May 2017. It is the second such commission of inquiry on land in Uganda after the 1924 inquiry into land that was appointed by Governor Michel. The difference being that the first commission was mere land inquiry, while the Bamugemerere is a judicial one, with the judicial powers to apprehend in event of perjury.
From the look, they are quite doing a good job, but also being cognizant of the fact that we have seen this commission of inquiries over and over, but who come up with very good reports and recommendations, but are never taken up. But it's a matter of time. We are waiting to see what is happening, because already, as you can see, quite a number of people have been mentioned.
The two commissions are just part of the many other efforts that have been undertaken to solve Uganda's land management and administration problems since the colonial times in what is commonly referred to in the academia as the land question.
Before you today. Here with me is Kalwa Kimu and Ngabile Emmanuel. The land issues is a trending topic in Uganda today. So many bodies have come to talk about it. The president himself set up a commission headed by the Lady Justice Catherine Bamugemerere. What's your opinion about the land issues today?
First of all, good morning to our viewers. Some of the issues that are actually rising up, most of them are as a result of the landlord-tenant relationships, where you actually have evictions of people from their respective settlements. Others are really what one can call ethno-political issues, where you have clans and then tribes, for instance in the northern, where you have the Balalo being chased away from their land issues, and then others, pastoralists who actually keep moving, shifting and trekking from one place to another, whereas some other issues, ignorance sometimes of the law, where some people actually reluctantly don't report, and others, once they report, and they are neglected by those in positions of power. So basically those are some of the issues that cause land issues. And I think, given the benefit of doubt, the commission, to me, I think it can really do something, although we really want to see it implemented. Big shots in government and in business have actually been mentioned in this, but the implementation and actually where we'll see if some of these people who are depicted, the wananchis from their respective settlements, if they can actually be handled as the law suggests and put to book, then that's when we will see. Although, yeah, I think we'll just give them time, just like the president when he was being given the report, when he said he actually is going to give them the police to also work with them. So we can give them a benefit of doubt, but like I've told you, those are some of the issues, not exhaustively, but some that are causing land issues. Back to you.
Like Hakim said, Emma, the commission seemed to be doing something, but to me it's a barking dog that does not bite. What do you think about that?
Actually, thanks Becky. The issue you raise is one that many people have raised. The commissioners, because we've had so many commissions in the past. You remember the James Ogola Commission, you remember the Sewutinde Commission investigating police. All these commissions came and did, they made a lot of noise. We wrote about them in the press, but at the end of the day, I mean, many of the people who are indicted in those commissions are back in government. So the problem is that these commissions seem not to have any clear, apart from finding out what is wrong, they don't have any implementation authority. They are just, as you say, the backing dog. And that issue was, it is also closely tied to what, there is a report by the Human Rights and Peace Center, which was authored by Oloka Onyango. We know him as a famous law don at law school. And basically what they said is that you cannot separate the land question in Uganda from the political question. Sure. So long as there is no political will to capture this, the people who are accused of maybe evicting people illegally or taking over land illegally, there is absolutely no way that we shall deal with this issue unless there is political will. Which takes me back to what Hakim said also. Hakim said, let's be positive about the commission. The president talked tough yesterday when he received the report. He said that he's going to hand it over to the police and the people who are accused are going to be prosecuted. But it has not happened in the past. I have no reason to be confident that a leopard can change its spots. A leopard doesn't change its spots, but maybe we can be positive.
Wow, those are very interesting comments about the commission and the land issues in Uganda today. Back to you, Hakim and Emma. What would you like to give out to the public and to the commission? What is that last remark you would want them to consider?
I think the commission has really tried to deal with land eviction between the landlords, tenants, but now more concentration is actually needed to most of the traditional inheritances, because there are also very many issues, especially like recently here on the yet to be completed, the Entebbe Express Highway. Most people and most families have actually had land issues and wrangles in terms of sharing what has actually been compensated by the UNRWA. So I think the commission should also try to look into the traditional inheritances and to see if there is always some fair kind of, especially to the gender, and then sometimes to the orphans that are actually left with caretakers and caregivers, to see that are also given a fair share and a fair hearing. I think some of them have been treated unfairly. The commission needs to also look into that traditional inheritance and clan issues.
Well, Emma?
For me, I think my closing message go to the government, because at the end of the day, it is the government which will implement this. Land is a very important issue. It is the most important inheritance we can give to our children, because everything else can go, wealth can go, houses can go, but the land on which they are remains. And because of that, it's a very emotional issue for very many Ugandans. And my advice to the government would be, surprise us this time. We have had so many commissions. For this one time, let Ugandans be pleasantly surprised that a commission came and it made recommendations and they were actually implemented. I think if we do that, we shall be assuring the future of Ugandans.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Guest today, and to the government and the commission, you've heard what the public expects from this from the public and other public. Thank you.